Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is 58 Keys Writing Workshop set of videos. And the pattern is I tell you how I happen to write something and then you please tell me I'm totally wrong in the comments. The whole point is that conversation. You're a writer, I'm a writer, we're talking about writing. Otherwise it's just me yapping on, and yeah, it's a bit of me yapping on, isn't it? Fix that by commenting below. Okay. This time, it's going to be quite a short one because I think I want to talk about this more in the comments than here with you now, but also there's not a lot to say about it. I have a very strong opinion about saving ideas for the next book, which would be basically this, yep, don't. Okay, thank you very much. See you in the comments. All right, here's the thing. I mean, it's very common for, I think, particularly new writers to plan out whole series of books and often to write them before trying to get them out to anybody. And I think you should try getting them out. You know, write the book, see what happens. Because most books you write will not succeed. Either you ditch them or you just don't get picked up by publishers. And a whole series of them, I don't care how good book 4 is, if it is book 4, do you know, actually, if it was book 4 and the other 3 hadn't been picked up, I'd just take away the part 4 bit and do it as a new one. Isn't that actually just what Mission Impossible's done? The last film that was out a couple of years ago was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So obviously the new one that's just come out as I record this should be called Dead Reckoning Part 2. But presumably it didn't do well enough and it wasn't a good enough film. That's been quietly forgotten and it's now Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, as if it's a totally new story. And yeah, there's an awful lot of flashbacks in it to previously in episode 1, but okay. So I would do that if I really, really wanted to get a 4th book out from a series when the first 3 hadn't sold. But I'm thinking more specifically of you're in the middle of your first book in the series, your first book ever, whatever it is, and you have this little idea. Now, as writers, we're guilty of the shiny penny thing. I mean, lots of people are, but I think we get it the most. It's like, oh, actually, I could just go write that quick thing. And maybe you should. Sometimes maybe you should. But most of the time, focus on the thing you're doing or it's not going to get done. And yet there's a little idea. I've seen people say they'll save it to book 2. Obviously, there are going to be times when they're right. There's a new idea, presumably for the same characters or the same situation, that doesn't quite fit where you are now. Okay, but examine it and check that it doesn't fit before you push it off to book 2, which might never happen. I think if you're trying to save things to have good bits left for book 2, then what you're really doing is not protecting book 2, which may never happen. You are diluting book 1. Everything in there, get it in there, use it if it fits, if it works. I think it's definitely a temptation, isn't there, to worry about whether or not you're going to have an idea for book 2. You're going to have an idea for book 2. There you go. Sorted it out for you. The difficult second album stuff. I mean, I agree that makes sense. You've had years to write the first one. Now there's under pressure to do the second. Okay. But you won't speed it up by having an idea in the first book that you didn't use. Because, okay, I keep saying the book 2 might not happen. Okay, if it did, the chances are the great idea you had that was kind of orbiting book 1 won't fit in book 2. So then what are you going to do with it? I mean, basically you're going to forget it. And often enough, you have to. Hoarding, that is the word I have been groping for. Don't hoard ideas to do it. Use them now, spend them now. I think I may have mentioned this before, but you've just put it back in my head as like an extreme example of this. I mean, how do you pronounce it? Reductio ad absurdum. This took the idea to the absolute worst limit. I was in an awful writing group day, this place, and one was reading out a bit from a book, and it was, I can't remember anything about the book. I seem to remember thinking it was fine, but she was definitely doing this keeping thing for the next book thing, but what she was keeping was like the answer to the mystery or the crime or whatever it was, with her logic that people have got to buy the second book. Yeah, will they bollocks, you know? You let me down in the middle of the book, I'm not coming back for book 2. I mean, she told us what the idea was, and it's like, I came back for that. Plus, I did love the idea that, I'm sure I've said this before, sorry, there were so many Sometimes now when you're reading a paperback book, the last chapter of it isn't the last chapter of it, it's a preview of the first chapter of the next book. So she could well have had her thing thwarted, because I remember saying she'd resolve it very quickly in the second book so that she could then go off into the second adventure. Just wrong throughout. And the whole group was kind of going at her and thinking, odds of being published and finding this to be a problem? Bit low, really. You're not going to do that, and you're not going to run out of ideas. That's the key thing for this. Don't hoard. Get the ideas on the page. Use them. If they don't fit, probably throw them away. But all right, keep them if necessary for somewhere else. Just don't go in thinking, I need a second idea, or this would be a good idea for the next one. Use what you've got. Let me know what you think about all this, particularly actually if you are someone who writes a marathon series of books like this. I'd be really intrigued to know about that. Where you do that is in the comments below, and where I do it is right here, sitting here waiting for you, although frankly it's getting a bit hot. Might get us a cold drink first. While I'm doing that and you're typing, thank you very much for watching. Now take care of yourself. When you've commented, write more, okay? I don't mean in the comments, I mean we're supposed to be writing, we're writers, it's what we do, it's important to us. Write more, you and me both, but also take care of yourself, eh? And I'll see you soon.